Let us execute an immediate, sweeping analytical vector shift away from the sun-baked professional soccer training facilities, intense physical conditioning grids, and hyper-grounded athletic realities of the sports world, and plunge straight back into the shadow-drenched, calculation-heavy tracking grids of dark paranormal fantasy, weaponized supernatural bloodline filtering, and the deeply precarious world of elite shifter pack warfare. We are crossing the threshold directly into the ancient blood-stained territories of sovereign wolf packs, forbidden magical lineages, and the lethal analytical parameters of a highly defiant heroine weaponizing her hidden heritage with wicked fate, the exceptional, pulse-pounding third structural deployment anchoring and concluding the globally dominant, chart-topping Rejected Fate Trilogy by the absolute undisputed sovereign of razor-sharp urban fantasy, cutthroat pack politics, and high-velocity fated mate pacing, Jen L. Gray. This high-stakes narrative tracking sequence delivers an exceptional look at an operational crossroads where a fierce, underestimated rejected mate running an active survival loop, a powerful network of elite paranormal gatekeepers, and an absolute defense of a shifter's personal sovereignty metrics collide at terminal velocity. Let us map the strategic narrative grid. If you are an elite enthusiast of high-octane, slow-burn fantasy thrillers where an endangered, hyper-observant female protagonist must navigate an absolute maze of corrupt high-ranking alphas, lethal combat pack trials, and a deadly ring of active administrative gaslighting while running a blind survival loop inside a completely compromised supernatural ecosystem where an analytical mind uses deep defensive wolf tradecraft, hidden lineage configurations, and absolute psychological stamina to outmaneuver an invisible predatory pack syndicate, and where the author utilizes an incandescent, ruthless testing, unearthing a buried tribal conspiracy diagnostic routine to test our hero's structural limits, this book is engineered to lock you in. Gray completely dominates the dark shifter rejected mate suspense dynamic, capturing the heart-racing intellectual momentum, suffocating institutional paranoia, and heavy deductive depth popularized by genre vargs like Jamin Eve, K.F. Breen, Shannon Mayer, and Kelly St. Clair, while treating realistic combative training logistics, complex personal alignment arcs, and protective magical pack grids with absolute technical mastery. The narrative tracking grid zeroes in on the highly volatile, calculation-heavy baseline of our central heroine, operating under a severe calculation-heavy handicap of an illegal rejected status, intense alpha hazing protocols, and a hyper-visible targeting profile by the pack's ruling elite houses. Behind her rigorous forest combat footprints and tense territory boundary logs lies an intricate matrix of hidden faction allegiances, deeply buried emotional secrets, and sharp, high-stakes political maneuvers. Her collective defense mechanisms are locked down tight behind a lifetime of outriding exploitation, her entire analytical focus strictly consumed by monitoring sudden threat vectors from rival wolves, parsing complex behavioral shifts from her powerful, dangerous, true, fated alpha allies, and shielding her vulnerable personal autonomy nodes from being entirely wiped out by a ruthless elite or council cleanup offensive. The spark ignites when an unexpected high-frequency structural anomaly breaches her active scanning perimeter. As the trilogy's warfare phases enter an increasingly lethal terminal tier, a series of suspicious sabotage attempts, targeted political setups, and calculation-heavy wilderness ambushes threaten to permanently eliminate her from the territory roster. The official diagnostic metrics of the pack tracking centers flash white-hot when her defensive maneuvers and raw output reveal that her forbidden alignment is radically, impossibly altering the region's historical balance of shifter power. The standard boundaries of routine pack rivalries and peaceful territory protocols crumble, and our central protagonist runs completely out of standard diplomatic escape vectors. She is thrust directly into an active, invisible war across the mountains, where deceptive noble houses, highly manipulative alpha instructors, and a calculation-heavy underground syndicate launch aggressive countermeasures to permanently suppress her advancement data stream. The tactical parameters instantly explode as her historical and survival warfare turns completely active, transforming the grand pack meeting halls, dark training grounds, and private alpha estates into a volatile psychological pressure cooker and a physical battle zone. Our veteran survivalist protagonist is forced to deploy her massive intuitive tradecraft, environmental mapping skills, and raw shifting stamina to maintain her perimeter before the next competitive elimination phase permanently deletes her progress. When deceptive romantic red herrings, corrupted arena parameters, and calculation-heavy physical ambushes launch aggressive plays to delete her path, her survival instincts engage her final deployment tracks. Every midnight library excavation, every silent choice to stand off against an arrogant high-ranking alpha behind standard pack barriers, and every intense moment of channeling raw, unyielding survival mechanics chips away at her reliance on original peaceful rules.
What follows is an exceptional high-stakes war of perspective, tactical position, and raw human grit. We watch the Shifter Elite's deceptive perimeters completely unwrapped as Gray reveals that the true victory requires more than just surviving an initial rejection or managing pack rivalry. It demands an absolute, uncompromising defense of individual dignity, personal truth, and systemic survival against a cold, calculating machine of institutional hierarchy and supernatural supremacy. While our central characters smooth over each other's psychological and defensive blind spots with devastating analytical force, creating a fiercely protective web of loyalty around our central heroine. A brutal series of close-quarters tactical confrontations and high-stakes evidentiary breakthroughs shifts the clock into its terminal phase, proving that historical emotional hazards have tracked them to their final outpost. To survive the impending locked grid trap and permanently secure her sanctuary, our resilient heroine must unleash an absolute, unyielding defense of her final boundary lines. It is a dark paranormal shifter romance, rejected mate suspense, pack politics drama, and high-velocity urban fantasy noir masterpiece that treats deep relational logistics and intense structural friction with elite precision. The tension here burns with a sharp, calculation-heavy intensity. We are talking about that high-frequency, one whispered secret triggers a fatal force showdown energy, where a sudden pause during an active pack tactical briefing, an unexpected shift in an adversary's protective physical posture during a high-stakes territory confrontation, or a heavy, possessive realization that an elite, true fated alpha has completely mapped your personal coordinates carries massive structural weight. Gray writes with an exceptional, fresh, vivid, and beautifully blunt voice, perfectly capturing the cold, metallic clang of silver-tipped weapons, the oppressive, heavy atmosphere of a private training vault before a combat trial, and the distinct, subtle scent of polished leather, forest pine, burning sage, expensive parchment, dark ozone, and pure, unadulterated suspense. What truly elevates this trilogy conclusion into elite territory is the author's unmatched ability to balance complex, high-stakes pack dynamics and genuine magical power tradecraft alongside a breathtaking narrative pace and deep emotional hooks. Our protagonists don't rely on unbelievable Hollywood superhero action tropes. Their immense situational intelligence, strategic patience, and profound survival instincts match the complexity of the chaotic, modern corporate and aristocratic underworld they dominate step for step, making their choices to risk everything feel profoundly authentic and deeply gripping. The pacing moves with calculated momentum, tracking intense conversational standoffs and breathtaking tactical breakthroughs before ratcheting up to an absolute jaw-dropping conclusion that delivers total, hard-earned advancement to their horizon. Wicked Fate is the definitive pro-level upgrade your high-stakes urban fantasy and dark shifter suspense library demands right now. It is elegant, immensely fast-paced, and utterly unputdownable. It proves that when your entire sanctuary is targeted by a cold, calculating institutional monster, the most revolutionary play you can execute is to lock your perimeters, trust your elite survival training, and fight like hell alongside your network to rewrite the data. So secure your personal reading sanctuary, review your emotional defensive perimeters, open your Kindle, and prepare to track the pack.